Hey, welcome to Let's Play Diablo 2. This game has persisted throughout generations of gamers as being unquittable, as being horrifically addictive, and it's really good. It's really good, you know. Lots of people, well, you know, when we're talking about Diablo 1, people will reminisce about, you know, how atmospheric it is and maybe like how much more like, I don't know, busy maybe this one is. But it's really like a deep and interesting game that starts off so simple and easy and gets so incredibly hard at the end that it's actually, I don't know, it's very good as a game in that respect, you know. So let's check out the classes in this one. I'm assuming that you probably know something about Diablo. You know, it's an RPG, you kill demands and whatnot, and you get the gear and the experience points. So, you know, there's all these classes. And there's quite a few of them, aren't there? Well, basically, I've written up about all these guys. I'm not really going to talk about all of them, but today we're going to play the Assassin, who can use a variety of elemental and direct combat skills, which makes her an interesting candidate for a Let's Play. And why don't we get started?
Good day. Greetings, stranger. I'm not surprised to see your kind here. Many adventurers have traveled this way since the recent troubles began. No doubt you've heard about the tragedy that befell the town of Tristram. Well, some say that Diablo, the Lord of Terror, walks the world again. I don't know if I believe that, but a dark wanderer did travel this route a few weeks ago. He was headed east to the mountain pass guarded by the rogue monastery. Maybe it's nothing, but evil seems to have trailed in his wake. You see, shortly after the wanderer went through, the monastery's gates to the pass were closed, and strange creatures began ravaging the countryside. Until it's safer outside the camp and the gates are reopened, I'll remain here with my caravan. I hope to leave for Lutga Lane before the shadow that fell over Tristram consumes us all. If you're still alive, then I'll take you along. You should talk to Akara, too. She seems to be the leader of this camp. Maybe she can tell you more.
Alright, so we're dumped right into this strange, maybe unfriendly place with chickens and rogues. If you didn't guess by the rogue encampment, this is actually populated by the rogue clan from the first game.
Greetings. I am Akara, High Priestess of the Sisterhood of the Sightless Eye. I welcome you, traveler, to our camp, but I'm afraid I can offer you but poor shelter within these rickety walls. You see, our ancient sisterhood has fallen under a strange curse. The mighty citadel, from which we have guarded the gates to the east for generations, has been corrupted by the evil demoness Andariel. I still can't believe it. But she turned many of our sister rogues against us and drove us from our ancestral home. Now the last defenders of the sisterhood are either dead or scattered throughout the wilderness. I implore you, stranger, please help us. Find a way to lift this terrible curse, and we will pledge our loyalty to you for all time. There is a place of great evil in the wilderness. Kasha's rogue scouts have informed me that a cave nearby is filled with shadowy creatures and horrors from beyond the grave. I fear that these creatures are massing for an attack against our encampment. If you are sincere about helping us, find the dark labyrinth and destroy the foul beasts. May the Great Eye watch over you.
You do make it sound rather scary, Akara. But, it's no worries. It's just the first quest. And, rather than being organized by levels, we're,
They'll never see me coming.
You're so sassy. We will be seeing more of an emphasis on, you know, you can see that there's a certain number of quest slots that we know for this area, and, you know, there's tabs in there. So we basically know that this is one of the basic, like, regions that we'll be in. They're called acts. And so, clearly Diablo 2 is a much larger game than the original, and although I was exploring all the maps and everything in the first go on the first game, definitely won't be doing that here. At the very least not on camera, and also just because it's kind of boring. I just go for stuff that's interesting and cool and gets me good gear. So as the assassin, we have a striking blade thingy, but it isn't a sword. It's a claw type weapon, and this is called a katar, and it's pretty good damage for a beginning weapon. I think that short swords in this game, actually I think they might do 3 to 8, but I just can't remember. But basically this is a class of weapon that only the assassin can use, and there are certain skills that basically only apply to the claws that the assassin gets. And now with our first level up, let's see. I like to be pretty even with this class and just make sure I get some vitality. These stats are pretty much all the same. The thing is, there used to be the magic stat. Now it's just energy. And basically all it does is give you more mana. You can use items or potions or whatever to give yourself mana, so generally speaking, points in this stat aren't really well spent. So let's begin with a trap skill. This Fire Blast, and it's very helpful against small groups of enemies. In the beginning, it's good against these sorts of guys. Let's see. Only hit the one. See, the thing about a trap is that they're really quite powerful and useful, but they do require sort of like a bit of predictive thinking about how the enemy's going to move, which is actually quite interesting. It really makes it so there's a relatively high level of skill needed to use the skill to its greatest effectiveness compared to just click directly on a guy and the firebolt will hit him, or the arrow will hit him, or your sword will hit him, or whatever. And so that's part of why I'm probably going to be building this character as a traps assassin with some martial arts and other stuff. But I'm going to do something well-rounded. I'm not going to just put in traps, but I am going to focus on traps to a degree.
Perfect.
God, you're very sassy. It kills me. So, we can see that it's not really our melee attack is more powerful than our Fire Blast, but it is nice to be able to attack from a safe distance and hit multiple enemies at once. And obviously, there's a set of spells that, they're now called skills for every single class. They're different for each one. Whereas in the original game you would really just you learn spells from books, and if you found a book then you could learn that spell if you had enough magic, otherwise you just don't learn that spell. But here you get access to new skills after you hit a certain level, and each time you level up you receive a skill point to put in whatever you like. And so it's a much more controlled system. It encourages thinking about the way you want to use your skill points and stuff. And we see the Fallen here from the original game, and they added the concept of the Fallen Shaman, sort of like a leader character. Oh, interesting. We'll check that out later. This is something you can use to modify a weapon, but we don't know much about that yet. The Shaman can revive the regular Fallen, and so it's a nice little game mechanic to have a priority target in this big group of dumb monsters. And, that's nice. So let's see. I suppose I'll give myself another ability now. This is a real killer. Basically, the core of martial arts use for the assassin is you do these moves that are like charge up attacks, and you sort of build up your charge and release it on an enemy. And if you don't use the charge, it'll eventually dissipate. And so there is some degree of thought required. Just sort of go looking for an enemy that is worth using it on, because these guys are a bit weak. All right, how about you? Oh, I mean, you see, there's a big explosion and stuff. It would have been such a big deal, but oh fuck, oh fuck. Shrines in this game are different. They are way more useful and not cryptic. And you can see how it's kind of cool, but The shrines will tend to do pretty much exactly what their name says, and they're temporary effects usually. They're not like permanently give you dexterity or permanently take away max mana or some shit like that. It's like way more reasonable. And if we check our skills, you can see right now our Fire Blast actually does more because the skill shrine raises our skill levels. So it's very cool like that. And holy shit, these guys are going right down. It's ridiculous, actually. So we've got right here, as you can see, these guys have minion in their name. And this is a boss. So, you know, there's unique monsters in the original Diablo, but now the minions that follow those boss monsters around, they're actually more powerful than you know, the regular enemies you might find, and they give more experience as well. And they can be to be feared, definitely. There we are. See, another nice thing about when you level up Fire Blast, or you know you have a buff on it for whatever reason, is that it'll increase the blast radius. So let's have a go at these fellas. There we go. You, come here. All right, come on. I didn't even let him hit me. Probably should have shown off a spectral hit or something. I'm not sure it matters. So here's some nice spoils. These things have somewhat better defense than what I initially found. But anyway, you can see the belt is smaller in this one, and basically the idea is that you can just put more potions on based on the kind of belt that you're wearing. And eventually we'll get like big ones that have like hella rows in them, so you can store like a shit fuckload of potions, which is kind of nice. And you know, use less keys to operate it, obviously. Let's see. Why do I want all these armors? What is the point? I'll just wear this. And you know, you can see you get like a slightly different look for each type of armor available in the game. And we found these blue items. If you ever played Diablo, you know about blue items. They're just magic. There's a couple new subcategories of magic items. I might as well identify some shit. Like, oh, that's kind of nice. Thorns is a nice effect to reflect some damage, although, I mean, to be honest, I won't be allowing enemies to be alive around me that much in order to use it.
The rogue's test is done.
So, I mean, that's the end of the quest. Not super challenging or anything. And it's probably one of the only ones where we're required to just kill every last enemy. Usually it's like complete some kind of objective maybe, but what about this? Thorns again? I mean, yeah, I guess I'll wear that. But you know, normally it's like, you know, activate this object or maybe kill this boss or some crap like that. And I don't know, I think that's kind of less of a chore because otherwise you tend to have like stragglers and you're like, where the fuck did I leave that last little goblin, that last one little goblin who's planning to mount an attack on the rogues camp? And like, by the way, that wasn't that difficult. You guys could have just gone and done this, especially because like, I don't know, you're like a fucking order and like, who am I even? I don't even know who I am. I just appeared one day. I might be a baby, you know? I just came out of the ground. And so I'm not sure you can really explain why you guys are getting fucked up so bad.
You have cleansed the den of evil. You've earned my trust, and may yet restore my faith in humanity. Your reward is training in the skill of your choice.
Alright, that's bitchin'. Free skill point. I think I'm going to give us Dragon Talon. So, the other major type of, you know, assassin move is to be able to kick shit, which is kind of nice. I don't know. I'm trying to like organize my spell binds or something. I don't know. I like to have like the martial arts together and the traps together, but God, there's so many skills in this game. Actually, like when you first play a class, you can get really fucked up because like, how am I going to manage all these skills? I mean, I go through them with like the mouse wheel because I can't fuck with these F keys. They're all over the place. And I just get confused, like juggling the debuffs and the buffs and shit. It's just, you don't really need to do that shit in the early part of the game, but when you get later on, it's like you really need to like leverage every single possible advantage to make it through. But anyway, I mean, I'll just pawn some shit real quick. For whatever reason, the stuff we start with only sells for 1 gold when it really ought to sell for more. I guess like they don't want people to like buy items before they go fight enemies or some shit. Which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but who cares, really? We found some gems. So, you know, the idea, you can insert them into socketed items. We'll find items with sockets, and it'll be fairly intuitive. It's kind of nice, you know, a customization element. And so, at least in the early part of the game, I like to pretty much save whatever kinds of gems I find. So I think I'm just going to go do that. Head over to my stash. Cool beans. And, yeah, gems and gold. So, you know, this is basically, you don't like, in the regular Diablo, the original Diablo, you sort of like, when you save the game, you're pretty much like suspending the state of everything. But in Diablo 2, whenever you open the game up, you start again in town, and like all the enemy positions are refreshed. But like, it's not a big deal because you can go further along in the act by using waypoints. And so, you know, there's all these areas. But anyway, you can't just leave items on the ground and expect them to be there. At least I'm pretty sure you can't. And that's why they added the stash. So, just for your information. This lady's glowing, but I really don't want to talk to her right now because it's just fucking boring. I'm going to check out my kick. I'm actually just going to kick some guys really quick because I think that's kind of fun. God, I wonder if they're going to be strong enough, you know? That would be kind of a drag if they just weren't strong enough. I think I'll just go find a waypoint and then I'm going to wrap up. I think that would make some sense. So obviously, there's running in this game, and there's also a stamina meter. I did happen to find a stamina potion, which gives me temporary infinite stamina. Super handy for these long stretches early on when your character has low stats and can't run that much. Oh, that's spooky. Come here. Oh, wait, no. Use this move. It's not as strong as I remember, obviously. Without the skill shrine. Yeah, it's pretty spooky, these corrupted fellows. These things are pretty badass in the early game. 49 damage on like a ranged weapon. We just have like 20 of them to just use however we feel like, you know, and that's kind of handy. Oh, more like 86? Maybe I was looking at the wrong shit. But anyway, what do you have to say, lady?
Beware, the evil is strong ahead.
Okay, thanks. The cold plains. Oh, hey, it's the waypoint. Alright, well, I'm just going to leave it off here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.